Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar that we're doing today. Today, we are going to be telling you all the things you can expect to learn and experience at our Leading Reliability Conference coming up the last week of August in beautiful Clearwater Beach, Florida. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of share some of the lessons that we believe the different speakers are going to be talking about, let you know a little bit more about what the workshops are going to entail, just the different experiences that we plan to provide at this event. And since it might be the first event for some of you after quite a while of not attending conferences, we thought this would be great just to get everybody excited and give you kind of the talking points you might need to take back to those who need to decide whether you can attend or not. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So just a quick, before we kind of introduce all the hosts, though I'll say I'm Maureen Gribble with UE Systems, just want to do some housekeeping. We are recording this, so if you want to share the recording with the person who has to sign off on you attending, you can do that. If you have to hop off early, then of course, you'll have the ability to still listen in to what you might have missed. And of course, if you've got colleagues that weren't able to join, we'll make this recording available shortly here after we're done with the session today. So wanted to make note of that. And also want to be sure you all know that you do, we're going to be kind of doing this in sort of a Q&A panelist sort of fashion, so a little different than a normal webinar where we're just running through PowerPoint slides. But we do also want you all to be able to ask questions, and we want to be sure we answer the things that are important to you all. So you can type questions in, so feel free to do that. We'll have some time at the end to get those answered, and if we get a ton of them and we don't have enough time, we will for sure get to those questions after the fact. We can follow up with you offline. So wanted to make note of that. And then of course we are doing this live. So we are at the mercy of all of our Wi-Fi and internet connections and audio and all that good stuff. So just bear with us if one or any of us have any kind of audio issues. We'll try and get those resolved as quick as we can. But we think doing these live is much more valuable because of that engagement we can get from you all. So we'll take that little bit of risk that technology might not work with us, but hopefully we won't have any issues. So just wanted to get all that housekeeping out of the way. So now just a little bit of kind of background on this Leading Reliability event that we're doing that you all are here to learn more about. So like pre-COVID, for years, and Sean I don't even remember the first year that you all kind of launched it, but we all used to participate in Leading Reliability one-day kind of workshop sessions on the USS Yorktown, where Eruditio's offices are in Charleston, South Carolina. It was always a great location to do a full day of education on the aircraft carrier. And we would all come and we would do learning sessions, and we'd have hands-on workshops and lots of networking and flight simulators and all that cool stuff. So we were doing those Leading Reliability events for years leading up to COVID. And then of course, COVID, as everybody's well aware, hit. And this team of hosts from Eruditio and RDI Technologies, Fluke Reliability, and of course, UE Systems, we all kind of got together and we thought, okay, how can we continue to engage with this maintenance and reliability community, to educate, to provide resources and coaching when we're all of a sudden stripped of the normal opportunities that we used to have, like those in-person Leading Reliability events or the conferences or our own training classes, etc. So back in March, we just started doing weekly webinars, and each company would host one, and we'd bring in customers, and we tried to do an array of topics just to kind of keep everybody, maybe a little bit distracted also from what was going on in the world. But we then kind of thought, well, maybe these webinars are great, but what if we did a virtual conference? So last July, we held the first virtual leading reliability conference. And I think it went great. I think we were one of the first virtual conferences. Of course, there have been plenty since, but it was a really cool way to put on a lot of education and networking, virtually. And so then throughout the rest of 2020, we continued to do joint webinars together. And then in January, we held a second virtual leading reliability conference, and we actually did that over 2 days and took some lessons learned from the first one. And I think, again, it was a great event. But of course, we cannot continue to just do all these things virtually. And with things opening up and kind of COVID kind of getting under control, if you will, we saw an opportunity that I think it's time we can all gather in person again. So that is what we plan to do in August in Clearwater Beach. So we're really excited to put on a really great in-person event, to see you all in person again, and to get away from these screens and see one another in real life. So that is what you all are here to learn about. So I've spoken quite a bit. Again, I introduced myself, Maureen Gribble with UE Systems. Let's meet the rest of our hosts here. So Sean, maybe if you want to start, if you want to say a little bit about who you are and where you work.
Hi, you guys hear me okay, Maureen?
We do.
Wonderful. Well, this is Sean Eisenhower with Eruditio, one of the partners here, and we are super, super excited to see you guys all face to face again and catch up on what you've been doing during COVID and over the last year and a half.
Great. Hey, Jeff, how about you say hello?
Sure. This is Jeff Hay with RDI Technologies. I just, along that same lines, we're really, really excited about the in-person, being able to connect with people. I think as we transition, to more and more being able to be around each other and these sorts of events, we're really excited about the timing that this, that this event was able to, kind of be timed around that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing people.
For sure. And Dawn, how about a hello from you?
Absolutely. Hello to everyone. I am Dawn Kayada. I am the Global Event Planner for Fluke Reliability, and just really excited to see, what this all looks like when we all get together again. And it's just, I think we're all ready, but it's going to be a little interesting. So we've got some fun things planned, and we'll talk more about that as we go.
Awesome. And then we have another person who's with us, and her name is Holly Yalove, and she is with RDI Technologies as well. And she is going to kind of play, I'm going to eventually here hand the mic, quote unquote, off to her, and she's going to kind of lead us through the rest of the conversation around what we can expect at this conference. So Holly, I will let you take the proverbial mic and run with it.
Thanks so much, Maureen. And it's great to talk with you all virtually. And again, we're super excited to be seeing everybody in person in August at the event. And in thinking about the upcoming event and why you might want to attend or convince anyone in the chain of the organization that you should attend, there has been a ton of change over the years. I mean, over this past since 2020, and a lot of companies have had to go digital, and sort of now are adjusting to coming back in person, depending on where you're living. So I thought it'd be a good idea to ask each of our experts here that will be at the conference speaking as well, your thoughts on that as far as the impact that you think COVID has had, and is there sort of to the industry and conferences in general. And I'll start with, I'm going to start with Sean, just in our picture lineup.
Absolutely. Well, I think COVID has definitely made some big changes, and I think during the presentation during the conference, we're going to get to hear about some of those things. One of the presentations that comes to mind is about managing the program virtually and starting to make improvements in your organization or other organizations that are sister organizations to you And we've had to do that, and it's made a real difference. So maybe travel won't be as important as it was in the past, and I think we'll see some of that, and we'll learn a lot more, I think, during the conference.
Thanks so much, Sean. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, so I think that one of the interesting things about the COVID situation has been the rapid need to sort of do things differently, and what I'm really interested to hear always is what, because I don't think everything that we did during COVID is here to stay. I think a lot of conversation that has been had during kind of while we were all kind of confined to our homes or to different with different restrictions have been like, things, this is here to stay. And I think we have a tendency to kind of, jump on that notion, but I think only time will tell. And so what I think is going to be really interesting is hybridization, kind of looking at the situation and seeing like what really has a lasting impact, and what have we been able to learn that sort of the advantages that we've taken away. I think a lot of people talked about working from home and working remotely. I'm kind of curious to start to hear, how many people are now looking forward to coming back, because I don't think working from home from all people is everything that it's cracked up to be for some, and people are learning that. So I'm really interested to hear about just hybridization and how we're going to sort of mold some of the things that we've learned along the way.
Thanks, Jeff. Those are great points. Agreed. And tell me if I'm not in the vicinity when you hear that feedback. And now, Maureen, what are your thoughts as far as this transition and our quote here, going from the Flintstones to the Jetsons in 9 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's going to be really interesting as we start to gather together again and come together at these conferences and events, and I think it'll be interesting to see if people participate more and really focus more on networking and really trying to learn as much as they can from not just presenters that are presenting, but the person you're sitting at lunch with. I think that it's possible we probably started to take some of that for granted in the past. And now, having gone a year and a half without that, I think I know for me, as I've been starting to get out a little bit more at school activities and things like that, I'm noticing the small talk and conversation with people I don't necessarily know just came so natural. And I think it's because we've all just kind of been craving having that kind of interaction. So I think it'll be really cool to see if people kind of embrace that and take much more advantage of that time to really, soak up as much knowledge from your fellow attendees and presenters as you can. And it'll be a good kind of also kind of get back into the swing of conferences before kind of the fall kind of typical conference season kicks off. So we can be your practice round, if you will.
There's nothing like a practice round that also has a wonderful beach barbecue involved, right?
Exactly, with the sunset.
And Dawn, last but not least, can you weigh in here as well?
Sure. Yeah. Beach barbecue is sounding awesome. And I hear we're going to celebrate birthdays and all sorts of fun stuff. So I think, this graphic to me says that, we've all made some changes internally, but really how much have we craved the community virtually. And I think now we're craving community and what has everyone been doing. This will be a great opportunity for you to come face to face. And it's, again, think of it, we're coming out in smaller groups, right? So it's going to be a little bit more intimate and a little bit more depth. So I'm really excited, this handshake where you see the AI and the human, it's all, you can make all of these changes, digitalization, but you can't forget about the people. So we have to talk about culture and how we keep everybody up. And we're going to talk about those things as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much from everyone for weighing in on that. I think we at this point, we're going to transition to some additional questions. Sort of what you see on the screen is what to expect at the conference. We're going to go into some more detail on that with each of our experts here. And I'm going to start with Jeff. This sort of relates to what we were just talking about, but in talking about the fact that conferences are still in flux at the moment, and the adjustment that we're all having to going back in person, certainly virtual conferences were a big change. So along that vein, how would you describe what you're doing with the Leading Reliability Conference?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, for me, I think a lot of what this conference is about connections, and so if you kind of, Maureen gave a little bit of a background on the Leading Reliability and how some of the things came into existence with the webinars and the virtual. But I think the common theme for me has always been with this is staying connected. When COVID hit and we were doing webinars, really that was a lot about staying connected, still maintaining conversation and allowing us to have that connectedness, albeit at a distance. And for me, this is the natural kind of evolution, the process of what we're all going through, when we're actually able to sort of come back and then be connected, and now we can do that in person. And so that's in my opinion, one of the biggest elements to this is maintaining those connections with each other.
Thanks so much. Those are great points. I agree 100%. Dawn, I'm going to move to you now. So what is your team at Fluke Reliability? What are you looking forward to the most about this conference?
Oh gosh, so coming from, an event planner perspective, I'm usually, sitting on the side planning everything and looking at this and doing the same role here. But this conference, you're going to have, yes, when you went to a trade show, did you have, could you research your products in one place? Look at the expertise you're going to have in one place, that just these partners that are talking on, this webinar today, we've come together and we all complement each other. So I think we're really looking forward to getting back and really how do we all work together for the audience that, we have the reliability journey that everyone is on. How can we bring this all to, that simplicity? We know we need it, but how do we get there? So I think the expertise your questions are going to get answered, again, in a smaller setting.
Thanks so much, Dawn. I'm getting more and more excited about the conference as we talk about it. Maureen, what about your team at UE Systems?
Yeah, so, since we are a technology provider, I think one of the things we're really excited about is to finally kind of be back in person with customers, with our technology, to actually get people's hands back on it. These virtual meetings and things have been nice, but when you're selling a technology and when you're trying to train a technology, things like that, being able to really get your hands on the equipment and really get a better feel for it is so important. So I think we're really excited about that aspect, and to be able to also show some of the things that have come out since the last time we were able to do that in person. So I think that's a big thing. And then kind of just from a UE Systems perspective, also we're tacking on a sales meeting at the end of this. So actually just bringing our whole UE Systems family together again at the end of the week is going to be really nice. We all haven't been together since August of 2019. So I think for us, we're just really looking forward to reconnecting with each other and seeing how we could just kind of build on that excitement and make 2021 a great year and looking forward to 2022.
That is an awesome idea about getting your team together. I know that's going to be fun. I want to see pictures for sure. Make sure you're posting them on social.
Yeah.
And Sean, I'm gonna turn this away from that particular question line, but definitely something else that I see on the agenda, things to help with leadership and bettering your career. So could you tell us what are some things that reliability and maintenance engineers can learn at this conference to help them focus on bettering their careers?
Well, as I reviewed the list of presenters and the topics, I mean, it just seems like there's going to be a ton of really good information from a personal development standpoint. Two things that came to mind. I know you and I and the rest of the team spent some time on the phone just a few minutes ago with the keynote speaker, and I know he's going to be talking about the business case of change and how you talk to the leaders in your organization to get what you need to improve reliability. And I think that's something we all need to hear on a regular basis. You know, a couple dips once or twice a year is good for us to make sure we're speaking the language of management and not just the language of reliability and metrics and that sort of thing. The other presentation, it's one that I'm going to get to be a part of, but it's I think going to be pretty entertaining. We're going to try to do something really, really different with this presentation, and it's the Is Your Reliability a Jedi presentation. So that one is going to be a lot about how an individual, a reliability engineer, a maintenance manager, how they can really improve their skills to be able to implement reliability more effectively. But again, we're going to have a good time with it. We're going to do some kind of crazy stuff there. So I hope some folks will be able to join us for that one as well. But you know, just to kind of wrap it all up, just a lot of really good technical detail in these presentations, but also a lot of good business and personal, I think, things to be learned.
I'm very, very anxious to hear more about this Jedi presentation and whether there is or is not going to be a baby Yoda, but you don't have to say right now. So thank you for those points, and I'm going to go on to Jeff again. As Sean was talking, that there are a lot of great speakers on the agenda. Anything in particular that's caught your attention?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I would definitely say Is Your Reliability a Jedi would make it to my list. With a title like that, you can't really resist it. But I would also say that I've had the opportunity to hear Sean and Brian speak, never together, but separately, and they're both very dynamic speakers. So I would definitely check that out and be very eager to check it out myself. Another one that caught my interest was navigating COVID, improving maintaining reliability remotely with Keith Staten of Weyerhaeuser. And I'm really interested to hear a lot of what people have to say, especially people who know the industry, know maintenance and reliability very well. Are very seasoned and have experienced something new in their career recently, and I'm really eager to hear the takeaways from those.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks so much. It looks like I'm looking at the agenda. This question is for Maureen and Dawn, and I see that you have a couple of customers that are coming down to present. What are you looking forward to hearing from them?
Maureen, you want to go first?
Sure. And I was going to say, whoever's presentation is taking place at the same time as Is Your Reliability a Jedi, I feel bad for, because who isn't going to sit in on that? So we'll have to look at that agenda. We might have to not schedule something against that. Anyway, we'll make a note for the next conference planning meeting to discuss that. Anyway, but yes, we do have a couple customers coming down. That's one thing we always love when we've done our Ultrasound World conference in the past, is being able to have our customers come down and share their story of how they've been successful with the technology. And we've got two really awesome customers that are going to do just that. Carlos Callaway, he is with Pepsi. I believe he's actually specifically at a Frito-Lay plant. And he's going to come down and talk about how they've set up their predictive maintenance program. So they're not just using ultrasound, they are also using infrared and vibration. And he's got a great story to tell about how they implemented all three of those technologies, how they complement one another, and how, the lessons learned along the way, the successes they've had. So I think that's just going to be a really great real life session for you all that some of you can relate to as you're on that same journey. So that'll be a really cool one. And then Russell Goodwin with Noranda Illumina, he is going to come talk about something that's been a huge point of discussion for us in the last year, which is to do with lubrication. So for years, they were doing time-based lubrication at their facility. And over the past year or so, they've really decided to switch over to condition-based lubrication. And of course, with ultrasound, that is very achievable and a great, more efficient way to do your lubrication program. So he's going to have a great, again, story to tell about how they, finally made the business case to make that shift and how they got the processes in place to complement the technology so that they could be successful. So I think those will be two really good sessions. And I know those guys will also be awesome to meet up with at lunch or the networking breaks and things like that to pick their brains even further. So should be great to hear from them.
It sounds really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to those as well. And you're right, we do need to discuss the lineup of pitting anybody against the Jedi session.
Exactly. Especially if Baby Yoda is going to be there. Oh boy.
Oh, that was just my own thought. I'm not saying that's actually going to happen, but who knows? If it is, Sean, I'm sorry for.
It looks like at this point, Baby Yoda just has to appear.
Okay. All right. You can blame me later. I want to stick with you, Sean, actually, for this last question and this set. Going back to the pandemic and its impact on conferences and life in general, do you think that that COVID changed maintenance and reliability long term?
Well, if I go back to what Jeff said earlier, I think we're going to see some changes. How much of those changes stick around long term, I think that's yet to be determined. But I think some of the discussions we'll have at this conference will help us understand that a lot more. But I am going to be talking about change, and I'm going to use an example from the COVID time period, because many of us, not all, but many of us went through some really, really big changes, having to work from home as an example, instead of going to the office every day. And so, we were forced into that change. And what I think is really interesting now that we're kind of on the backside, at least in some states, we're starting to see a fight to not have to come back to work remotely forever. So change, no matter whether it was the change in the beginning to working from home or the change to go back to the office, makes a really cool model for us to spend some time talking about. And then I think you'll be able to take some things back from that will allow you to talk about the changes you want to make that you learned during this conference.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your thoughts on that. So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about the workshops. So there are some pre-conference workshops, as well as perhaps some more of the topics on the agenda. But initially, I'm going to turn to Maureen with the mic. For those that attend the UE Systems pre-conference workshops, what can they expect to learn from the software training and lubrication workshop?
Yeah, so we're doing kind of 2 half-day workshops on the Tuesday before the conference kicks off. And so the morning session is going to be on our software, our DMS and our spectralizer software. So that is clearly, geared towards our customers who are using our software. But that should be a really good session. I know that's something people have been kind of craving, getting that in-person software training. And we'll be sure to kind of survey those of you that have signed up or will sign up for it, to be sure we know kind of where you're at with your software journey, so we can be sure we're teaching, really what at a level that the audience is looking for. So that's going to be really good. We'll have several of our team on hand to kind of be there to do some kind of hands-on training with you as well, and make sure you really have a good understanding of how the software programs work. And then the afternoon is going to be kind of, as I alluded to earlier, it's going to be all about lubrication. So it's the afternoon session is going to kind of be in 2 parts. The beginning being sort of a lubrication 101, everything from selecting the right type of lubrication to how to properly re-grease your bearings, how to set up, the process for when you're going to re-grease, and understand the various failure modes associated with lubrication. So that part will be really cool. And then the second half of it is going to be how you can utilize our latest and greatest innovation at UE Systems, the on-track smart lube, how you can utilize that. And we'll actually have a working unit of that. And so folks will be able to actually, like, from your phone, lubricate a bearing and see how it changes the friction levels and things like that. So it should be really cool, hands-on, lots of information, and a little bit of fun. So that's what we got planned.
From your phone? That is, that's quite
From
shocking to
your
me.
phone.
Very, very
Yep.
interesting. So I actually had a question for Sean next, but I'm gonna switch it up just a little bit. And Jeff, I was going to ask you about what excited you about the conference. You can certainly continue to answer that, but I'm thinking about, I know RDI has some pre-conference workshops as well. Whichever of those you'd like to talk about, I'm going to turn the mic to you, and then Dawn, and we're going to end up this part of the session with Sean.
Sure, I can try to fit both of them in if I'm allowed. So just on the pre-conference, kind of just and that we're going to be doing a training course, so you can actually come and get fully certified on the advanced for the advanced training. So that's a workshop that you can come in and actually do a second level of analysis and then troubleshooting. So we really focus on that, and then actually get that advanced training certification. So we're really excited about that because, just in general, kind of just the sort of the value add of coming to the conference and getting that workshop certificate, or to get the full training certification. And that's actually just the same certification that you would do if you would get, kind of independently sign up for that advanced training. And then we're also going to be doing a workshop on the new features. One thing about our technology that's kind of unique is that it's newer with the industry, even though we've been around for a few years, but the technology is advancing very rapidly. And so we often find that we need to re-educate users on the technology, or just make sure people understand what they can do with the technology. And so in some ways, the product, the motion amplification doesn't even look like what it started. So it's really important. So we're going to have this new feature kind of update workshop, where we're going to kind of bring people up to speed and show them what the latest and the greatest is, and to make sure they're getting the fullness, or fully appreciate what the technology can do for them in their facility. On the topic of what I'm expecting and what looking forward to, kind of in a general, Dawn earlier used the word intimate or intimacy, and I definitely concur with that, and I'm really looking forward to that aspect of this conference. I think that this is a really great mix of leadership and experts, reliability educators and technology providers, and as well as end users. And so I expect that this to be a pretty intimate conference with a lot of connection, not one where you're necessarily rushed off and sort of disconnected, and you sort of have this kind of elements that are, in different places, and you're kind of running around. I think it's really going to have this intimate feel, where we're really in a larger group, and really able to make a lot of connections. The other thing I would say about this conference that really excites me, when we were really starting the planning, I kind of looked at the people that are involved and the companies that are involved with doing this. And if you look at it, it really almost is a one-stop shop for reliability and maintenance, in that you can learn about how to get a program started, how to maintain a program, how to get an ROI out of a program, how to sustain it, and then what technologies you need to bring to the table to implement a program. So there's a lot of knowledge I think from beginning to end in terms of maintenance and reliability at this conference, and it's going to be one location to be able to get all of that.
That's a great analogy, the one-stop shop. And Dawn, I wanted to ask you about Fluke's workshops. Fluke Reliability has some workshops as well. Could you just give us a kind of a sneak peek at what's in store there?
Sure, yep, I'd be happy to. But first, I want to go back to I got skipped when Maureen and I had to talk about our sessions and during their
I
conference.
apologize. I apologize.
No worries, I got you. So what I wanted to talk about, we have a very exciting session planned with one of our customers that is attending. She's worked magic with business intelligence through Power BI. So the analytics adventure that you see in front of you, business intelligence that makes us safer, greener, and more efficient. She's going to be there in person. You know, we have all this data, all this technology that we've got, but how do we make sense of it and what do we do with it? So Nicole has done an amazing job at Monogram Foods, and she's going to come and impart us with, you know, how do we do it and why should we, and what do we, you know, so there's some really exciting things that she's turned out with, you know, looking at pork prices and work order completion. So it sounds crazy, but it's being done. So we're really excited about that session. So, and to move on,
Well, I'll just say magic made my ears perk up. So I'm excited about that.
So as far as the workshop goes, again, you know, to Jeff's point, you know, the one-stop shop. So our one-day workshop prior is titled Making Your Reliability Objectives Reality, right? So we have this smaller group. We're going to actually take a look at, you know, the key pillars of a successful maintenance program. So the pillars obviously help you organize and get results, drive commitment. You know, our experts are going to share their experience, you know, from customers around the globe and how it all boils down to the three, you know, main causes of failure proofing and so forth. But really look at it from a PF curve perspective and how you need to cover yourself in your programs. And if you want to improve your vibration program, you've got a great thermography program, but you want to improve your vibration, you're going to have folks in this room that are going to be on the opposite side. They want to make their other program better. So there's going to be a lot of sharing going on and a lot of, you know, helping. We're actually hoping that we'll have accountability partners happening. So there's so many things that we can do along this PF curve, if you will, to be preventative, but having all the experts in one place really to talk through this and be able to look at your specific challenges and how to get over them. You know, that would be a consultant you would bring in. So this is an opportunity to bring yourself here and then also have 2 days packed with content after that amazing workshop. And what we're talking about is being supported in day 2 and 3. So it really makes perfect sense. So we're excited and we hope to see you all there.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And Sean, I did have a question for you, but also if you want to speak to anything that you haven't covered yet related to sort of what to expect with your workshops. But I also, if you want to start with that, or if not, fine, or if you feel like you've covered that, but I do want you to tell us about implementation. And what are some of the things that you have seen that help speed up or otherwise the adoption of initiatives?
Yeah, so we're gonna have a good time with the implementation. You know, implementation is that area that you know a lot of people struggle. Let's be honest. You know, what do I go first? How do I start? What's the first thing that I should do? When should I transition to another area? Should I have a pilot area? Should I try to implement the whole facility or the whole division at one time? Those are a lot of the questions we hear on a regular basis. So Rick Clonan and I are going to do a half-day workshop. And we're going to talk about a lot of those details. We're going to take you through some of the things like having a master plan and why that's important to the implementation. We're going to show you how that master plan changes the pace of the implementation. We're going to talk a little bit about how you select your areas that you're going to implement in and what tools you might bring to those areas and when you can start various tools. That's always one that people want to know. Should I start PDM now, or should I start planning now, or should I start with the MRO storeroom, or you know, what elements should I address? So Rick and I are going to have a good time. We call that the fundamentals of reliability. So Rick and I are going to have games. We're going to have simulations. So it should be a good way to see the basics of reliability, see how the pieces fit together, and then have a good time doing it. So we're excited. It's been, as everyone's mentioned, it's been a while since we've really got to do a lot of these fun things. So we're going to bring a whole bunch of them to the table for that session. And then the last thing is, it really piggybacks off of everything that you've heard here today. But Rick Clonan is going to be talking about PM and PDM. And it's a hot topic right now. I mean, of course, everybody on this call loves to talk about it because it's a lot of what we do in the world we live in. But it is very interesting to me how many people are coming right now and asking for PM optimization or processes for making sure that they transition their PMs to PDMs. And so we're gonna learn a whole bunch about that side, the PM to PDM transition, and some of the case studies and examples around that from Rick. So that should be another wonderful presentation to spend some time in if you're trying to get a little more of your workforce dedicated to PDM and not everyone focused just on traditional preventive maintenance task. So that's two things I'm super excited about. You guys can probably tell I am ready to get back there. We're going to have a big time. We're going to do lots of fun things, and we're going to learn a whole bunch in the process.
Thanks so much, Sean. Yes, as you were speaking, I could sort of visualize you moving back and forth in front of the camera as we do on our planning calls. I appreciate your enthusiasm and sharing those tips and insights for us for the conference. At this point, though, I think I want to hand it over to Dawn to take us on to the next part with some more details of how to register for the event.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of listening, and now it's your turn. So this is basically, you're going to receive this in your response confirmation from us. Hey, thanks for attending. We'll make sure we have the deck. So this is your resource page. So make sure you visit the leadingreliability.com website, and then you can follow the bullets, everybody. But I wanted you to notice that everything is hyperlinked to make it easy for you. So review all the pre-conference options. Register. Just for a note today, for attending this, you will receive $200 off of your registration. So just go right to there and register, and then book your hotel. And then the agenda will be updated on after July 4th holiday. We appreciate your patience there. And just suggestion, bring your laptop for activities and note taking. And then we always ask, be present and be ready to participate, because this is, even in the workshops, there's going to be activities. We're going to, like we said, lots of fun things going on. But I can't say it any better than Sean did. While we're doing it, we're going to be learning, and we're going to have an action plan, actionable items to go back to our organizations with. And I think that is key. So hope to see you all there.
And if we
Awesome.
want to see any questions?
Yeah, so if you guys have questions, pop those in. We'll, on the next slide, we'll have our contact info, but just, while we give some folks some time to think about if they want to ask some questions, one thing I think we kind of highlighted it a little bit, but to kind of end the conference Thursday night, we are going to do a beach barbecue kind of birthday bash. We kind of, as we were talking about it, everybody missed their birthdays last year, and some of you probably celebrated some really big ones and some milestones, and even the non-milestone ones. We just thought it would be fun to kind of get to have a redo and celebrate everybody and come together and do it in a fun way. So put that in your why I want to attend bucket as well. So we're really looking forward to that. And again, just to echo what everybody has said, we really are planning on doing a great event. If you participated in the virtual conferences or any of our webinars, I think you can trust that we do have great content to share, really great presenters, and we really look forward to putting a really engaging event together for everybody. So we for sure hope you can participate and do all these things, register and join one of the pre-conference workshops. It's really great. Those are just part of the conference fees, so really great value as well, especially when you think about, like Jeff mentioned, the RDI Technologies workshop. I mean, you're getting your actual certificate. So I would imagine that course probably costs a little bit of extra money if you were to just do it elsewhere. So keep in mind all those kind of value add things as well. So with that, I don't see any questions coming in, but as you all take some time to digest what you heard, you can email me, and then if it's a specific question about something that RDI or Fluke or Eruditio are doing, I can obviously get your question to the right person on the team. Again, we did record this. We'll get the recording up online here shortly, and we'll make you all aware of how you can find that. But yeah, thank you, Holly, for leading us through today. Thank you, Jeff and Sean and Don, and to the rest of the Leading Reliability Conference team, who most of you are on here listening in as well. Thanks for all the hard work that everybody's been doing for the last year plus to continue to bring this education and resources to the maintenance and reliability community. We can't wait to do it in person. So we hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and reach out to us if you need anything at all. We hope to see you in Clearwater Beach, and we'll catch you guys later.